Well, here we are together in chapter 5 in the book Overcoming the Issues of Life, also called Oil. And our topic today is an evening stroll in the garden. Now, I wonder what picture you imagine when you hear that evening stroll of the garden. So, if we think back to the time when Adam and Eve were first created and they were able to take that evening stroll in the garden, they were walking and they would hear God's voice. I mean, they didn't have creatures that were harmful. They didn't have vines that were itchy or could cause any harm to their physical bodies. And that was just a beautiful thing. And even before the fall, they had that. They had that priority. They had that privilege. So now, if we're in a fallen world, how much more do we need to be intentional about taking that figurative evening stroll in the garden? So, have you all ever noticed, like on a spring day, in the evening, that beautiful pink and orange line that goes across the skyline is particularly beautiful after a soft spring rain? Well, it just has this perfect harmony in a calm sky, and it's absolutely beautiful if you take the time to notice it. Because if you're also in that same stroll home from work, also known as a traffic jam, you're not really going to take that figurative walk. So you have to make time for those kind of things. Some people take a spontaneous urge and they just drop everything and they just go for a walk. Some people plan their walks. They go and walk the dog. When COVID shut down, I saw families in our neighborhood that hadn't been out for years. They were out biking. They were out walking the dogs. And we have a lot of dog walkers in our neighborhood, but it was particularly full. People were glad to get outside and they were enjoying the fresh air. And it's really sad that it took a crisis to get us to know what we needed and to get back to nature and to enjoy it. So we have to take some time to relax from everything. Because if we continue to focus on issues, it weighs us down. We don't take good and proper care of ourselves. And so it helps us to remain and stay in balance. So we do need this for our total well being. We need physical well being, emotional well being, mental well being, and of course, we need spiritual well being. I know you've heard me tell the story of this before, but we're made in the identity of God. And so that being that we in this earth, we do live in a physical body, but we do have a spiritual being, our spirit man. Then there's the soul part of us that has our mind, which does our thinking, our emotions, which does our feeling, and our will, which does our choosing. And all of these need to be harmonized. We need a nice balance. So anyway, I'm encouraging you to have some free evenings, some free time somewhere in your schedule where you actually enjoy, where you remember to be invigorated, where you enjoy your surroundings and enjoy the people in your lives. So let's take a look. Song of Solomon 7:12 says it best. He says this: we will go up early to the vineyards. We will see if the vine has budded, if the blossom is opening, and the pomegranates are in bloom. And you all know that God has given us all these different seasons to enjoy. And so I'm encouraging you to take some time to rest. And it means that you are going to become comfortable, confident, tranquil, no longer depleted. But you have to have that break for balance. Take a look at what God said in Genesis 2, verses 1 through 3. Thus the heaven and the earth were finished, and all of the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and he sanctified it, because that in it even he had rested from all of his work which God had created and made. So I'm just taking an analogy here. So we know that God made it all in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. So if we just kind of look at a general ratio of that, around that every seventh day, we might expect we need a break too. God took a break and he rested, and then he blessed and sanctified that day. So remember that in that case, rest is a basic biblical necessity. Now, we have a legitimate need to get back in touch with rest, tranquility, a calm mind, a calm state of being. All right. So, in spite of the issues, we got to lay that stuff aside. knowing if God created man in his own image, in the image of God, he created a male and female, created he them, then there are things that we need to be appreciating and valuing about ourselves and others, because that's just how God made us to be. So life without rest is biblically incomplete, and life without a good support group and surrounded by the host of them, meaning all of us together collectively, is not satisfying and fulfilling either. So if you've kind of been feeling depleted, then you know how Jesus had his group of 12, and he had that, they broke bread together and did life together. Find some fellowship that's healthy for your life and surround yourself with people that are healthy for you. We know that we're not designed to be incomplete, because incomplete lives bring voids. And you know that when there's a void in your life, people don't typically go around filling that void with things that are good. It typically dwindles down the other pathway. So when you agree, it's not realistic to think we're going to feel good all the time, but it's nice if we're surrounded by people who do life with us in these times when we need support from one another. So true support requires people who are going to have integrity, people who are not going to just take from you, but it's a win-win. It's a two-way giving and taking and sharing. There's loyalty, commitment, some kind of endearing sensitivity, somebody who will really be able to understand you, somebody that you can really be yourself around. That makes facing and overcoming any kind of issues down here not as alone. So anyway, if we are, according to Romans 8:17, are heirs of God, then we are joint heirs of the promise. And that means we weren't designed to do life alone down here. Ephesians 3:6, joint heirs of the promise of Christ. So we're going to choose people around us according to Galatians 5:22. People that we can share love with, joy with, peace with, patience and kindness with, goodness and faith with. Okay, if you got toxic people around you, we're going to visit toxic relationships on another broadcast. But I want you to focus on the good heritage of the Lord. And that's, if we're his children, we have a right to be a part of that good heritage, the part of the things of God together with Christ, so that, yes, we have experiences of pain, but we also have experiences of glory, according to Romans 8:17. We're not designed for everything to be bad, or everything to, and we know down here in a fallen world, everything is not going to be good. But we can share our good news, and we can share the strengths of our lives with one another as part of our heritage. And speaking of that, I want to share one poem that came out of this particular chapter, and it's called It Is Good. And It Is Good has a lot of different things and places of meditation and thoughts for you, because it is a composite of all of the things that happen down here on earth, all of the things that we can get plague our minds. And at the end of the day, though, we have to remember it is good to surround ourselves around the people who are good for us, and to remember to put all these things in a proper balance. So that being said, listen to It Is Good, knowing that there's not 100% all bad down here. There's also not 100% all good. But we have to remember that in the joint heirs with Christ, God has set it for us to find the people in life to surround us, the events in life. We have simple, joyful moments in life to remember the good things that are around us. So don't get encompassed by all of what is not good. You have to actually be intentional to remember that it is good in spite of all the other. So listen up. It is good. Your debts are high, your bills unpaid. You smile at work, quite a charade. Stock market losses, no more gains. I'm nervous, Lord, I've lost my reins. Retirement planning, aging folks, my role is changing. I need jokes. Past 40 now, I must refrain from calories and to stay lean. College kids, tuitions due, life insurance, pensions too. All these cares of daily life, teenagers, and yes, my wife, monthly dates, at best we try to keep the passion, or we sigh. Why, oh Lord, is this so hard? Wallets full of credit cards. Must I have all of these things? Cars, gold watches, diamond rings, birthday parties, fees, fees, fees. Tax refunds, now that's a breeze, swallowed up by cares of life. I need you, Jesus, take my strife. On you I cast my burdens great. I own it, Lord, I've learned to hate. I must release these sins to you. I've been to church my whole life through. I know your word, it's in my head. My love walks low, my temperance dead. Please resurrect my spirit high to save my peace and drop my pride. Create in me a new clean heart. Help me to care and not be sharp. These sins behind me, I declare. My love for you, you've met me here. And now I know that it is good to live each day just like I should, with character that you'll be pleased. And I'll stay humble on my knees. I hope that encouraged you, that in spite of all of this, we can still take a look at what it is good. And with that being said, I will see you all at chapter 6.